Hey, what's up guys? Sir Emanon here, back with another episode of Road to 1000 DuelingBook Rating, and today we are playing a pure Lunalight deck actually in Rated. So yeah, over the past week or so, I've been actually testing a bunch of different builds, not just for Lunalights even, as we will get to a bit later on hopefully. But yeah, I've just been playing a bunch of stuff on ladder because of the fact that there are some problems I've been having, like some minor gripes I've been having with the Lunalight Orcus build. Namely in the fact that because now that like we just don't have Mermaid anymore, obviously, when you do brick with that deck, especially on the Orcus cards, it feels especially bad, like if you can't combo. And those are the games where you just really cannot play at all. And the brick hands are much worse in that build, like post-ban list of course. So I'm trying a blind second list. If you guys do remember in my deck showcase a couple weeks back, I did mention that I was playing around with this blind second list, but I was not a big fan of it, mostly because you do rely on a lot of the Lunalight engine to resolve and do what it's supposed to do in order for you to actually break a board and set up properly, and it had some problems going first. But I think I shored up some of those weaknesses, and it is still a work in progress for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of potential for optimization. I actually do think that pure Lunalight might be the way to go, just as far as the way the format's developing. Like with a lot of the top tier decks with like Orcus, Salamangreat, and Thunder Dragon, not really actually putting up a whole lot of like big disruption negator boards. Like obviously Orcus is doing the IP Masquerena combo now, and like you still have Salamangreat with a bunch of hand traps and like Thunder Dragon with Colossuses, but like all those boards are relatively manageable to deal with, and if you just put the right non-engine cards in your deck, then you can really succeed. But here we are playing against True Draco today actually, so not one of the aforementioned top tier decks, but it is still a deck that you are definitely going to face at like any probably regional, and you might face like a higher tier event as well. But yeah, so once again, like I said, this is a blind second list. I'm just trying to break boards at OTK and see how the good old Lunalight lists fares in the modern day and age basically. So you'll notice I'm running Lure of Darkness, which is a card that I've historically not been a big fan of, and that's because I really just think that if you're going to basically cut the I guess grindiness and all the other advantages that the Orcus engine provides for you, you should make up for that inconsistency. And while I don't really like banishing the Lunalight engine off the Lure of Darkness, it's nice to be able to like just fix your hand to make sure that you filter for the best extenders. So like if you have a danger heavy hand, you can just get rid of the worst ones and play with the better ones. I'm also maining 3 copies of Radiant, the multi-dimensional kaiju. It's the dark one, so like being able to banish multiples off of the lure is fine as well. So yeah, I think in this build, like especially because you have the 6th card, you can kind of just make your hand a little bit better, and you have more options to pick from with the lure, as well as just not having to worry too much about banishing like critical Orcus cards, which is a problem I had with running it in that build. But yeah, he's gonna go off. So he starts off with a diagram, and he's going to pop a Apocalypse. He searches a copy of Dynamite, and he's gonna draw a card off return. Yeah, I think this is like possibly the best way you could have played it. Yeah, you could argue that no, actually no, I think this is fine. He didn't have a monster. He drew the Ignis off of the Dynamite, so yeah, I think that was fine. So he set, I believe, Crackdown and a Solemn Judgment. So actually no hard floodgates for me to deal with, so I can probably crack his board here with this hand. So yeah, I start off with an Lure of Darkness. He obviously is going to chain for the Apocalypse, and I draw the Radiant, which is pretty nice here. Just because I want to make sure that I can just summon it in case he has an Erupt, because if he doesn't shotgun it, then it's just one less card I have to deal with. So I opt to banish the Martin here. Like you could argue that maybe the play is to like search an Emerald Bird to like pitch it, but I already have Serenade Dance in hand, so like I'm not really getting a plus out of like Martin being discarded off Emerald Bird anyway, so I don't feel that that's too necessary. So here I believe I just summon the Radiant again to prevent him from like flipping up a Monarch's Erupt. So here I'm just going to assume that because he grabbed Apocalypse instead of a return here, that he has, he's just going to try and tribute summon. So like I'm keeping that in mind, as well as the 2 back row that he has. So we're just going to try and like play through his back row. Now setting Tenki here maybe is a bit of a mistake because he could Apocalypse and tribute like maybe as a set Disciples. And he probably wouldn't set Heritage unless if it's the card that he drew off of the other Heritage, because he searched Dynamite off the diagram. So like in theory, if he had the Heritage prior to the draw, like he would just tribute summon Dynamite and then draw 2 of the Heritage instead of 1. So like I'm pretty sure one of the sets isn't a Heritage unless he again literally just drew it off of the other Heritage. But you could also argue that like it should be face up instead, because like he could Apocalypse to like half and then like target the Heritage as well for that. So lots of different things to think about when you're playing against the Draco card specifically. Like people often just like think about the floodgates and trying to out them, which, you know, is a big part of the game when you're playing a combo deck. Like you can't play through floodgates if they cripple you. But thinking about the Draco cards themselves, that is definitely something to keep in mind, is that, you know, like I played this deck for a while. Like it was the first deck I actually ever got my invite to for WCQ, so I kind of am aware of the Draco card interactions that you kind of have to keep in mind. But anyways, so yeah, I'm pretty confident one of those is probably not another like Draco spell at least. So like it's not really that big of a deal, but in theory I guess like you could tribute over like a set Disciples or something, using his Apocalypse and like pop my set, which would obviously not be very good for me. But I'm going to try and resolve a danger, so we're just gonna see how far we can get, because I want to reserve my Tenki to see what I should search. Yeah, because like if I can get like the Serenading Grave, then that'd be like ideal, because then I could just easily set up both Chick and Tiger without much setup. But yeah, so we're gonna reveal Draco up here, and lo and behold, he actually does get the Serenade Dance. I actually didn't watch this replay back. I played this game about a week ago, so I don't actually remember entirely what happens. So yeah, I get to it's kind of like a different perspective, I suppose. Like it's not fresh after me playing a game like I normally do, so I get to kind of see how I navigate my way through this board. So yeah, we rip a Tiger actually off of the Jackalope, which is fantastic. It means that like our Tenki gets even more value, and we're about to utilize our Serenade Dance to get this Zephyr out of our hand. So I get a Kaleido Chick here. The argument could be made, I suppose, like I could maybe get Emerald Bird and like cycle through Wolf and draw a card, because like I can maybe make a Serenade Dance, or sorry, make a Curious to search a Perfume, or send a Perfume to search for the Black Sheep to get Wolf back, because I am playing Black Sheep in this build. But like I'm kind of running out of cards in my hand anyway. Like obviously having the cycle with Emerald Bird would make up for the difference there, but not a big deal, I don't think. I think getting Kaleido Chick here is just safer, simply because if I'm going to run into a floodgate, might as well just get set up in Grave now, so I can kind of have more tools to access. So I get the other Martin in Grave because the first one was banished off the Allure. So he's going to Solemn Judgment my Tiger in Scale. I fixed that, there we go. And that's actually fine because I do have this Tenki set, so it ended up paying off that I set the Tenki before activating my Jackalope. But you know, just making the read that, like, making this slight consideration that he didn't have like a true Draco spell set, you know, just to reroute me with Apocalypse. But anyways, I'm going to now search a copy of Tiger. Now actually, the interesting thing there is he could have Apocalypse tribute the Radiant for the Ignis, and then like Ignis could have gotten the Disciples, and they could have like done Apocalypse like send. So it is something that he could have done there, but choosing not to do it. I think he just wanted to pop off Apocalypse like for the monster. So getting the second copy of Tiger here off this Tenki means that I am still able to pop off reasonably well, and they have a Zephyr Grave already because a hard drip. So I have Daruma here. So I was like debating on using it to like pop Tiger as an extra extender, but I think ultimately I end up going just to pop the Tenki instead. Or that would be my plan. I think I should remember now what happens, but yeah, I think if I was going to pop Tenki, I could have just done it like immediately instead of doing this stuff first. But it's fine. Like he would have dropped There Can Be Only One on my first Tiger on the Martin if he had it. So I know the set's not There Can Be Only One for sure. At that point, I would just make a Phoenix to pop it, and then like go in with the rest of my plays, because I would still have Barton Effect and Grave and like Zephyr still. So that wouldn't have been too big of a deal. I would have had to lose my wolf there, but like it's a small price to pay if you can just establish board control. Like if you can like stick a tornado for like the diagram, for example, and then also summon like an Abyss Dweller, it's pretty hard for them because Dweller is actually really good against this deck for stopping the spells and traps and destroying your stuff. So you go into a Tornado Dragon here, and on summon, I believe he activates a Crackdown, but I'm just gonna chain the Tornado and pop the Crackdown, and he scoops it up right there. Because I was gonna just Daruma pop Tiger and, or not Tiger, I gotta pop the Tenki and then the Diagram, and then use Zephyros to like just keep going, and then Wolf would go in for the OTK. So this is game 2, and it's not going to be like a finished game 2. He quits in the middle of my combo, and I don't normally like showing those types of matches, but I played like 4 matches of pure Lunalight, and they were all not very good. Like some of them, most of them like didn't even like finish. Like I don't think any of them really finished, but well, there was one that finished, but it wasn't like against a very good deck. So I'm trying to like keep it as meta as I can. Like now that I'm trying to move a bit faster with the series, I'm not going to be able to showcase every single match. I mean, I could theoretically if you guys want to see everything, but like I kind of want to just showcase the best replays for you guys, so that you don't have to waste your time watching me play against not the greatest decks at like with the lower ratings. Like it's fine to like know how to play against Rogue. I think that's okay, but like when you're playing against certain decks, it's not the most productive. Especially like I don't want to like flood you guys' sub box with videos that might not be the most relevant to you guys if you're trying to learn the deck or anything. So he likes me to go first actually, because I believe he won the die roll and went first in that game 1. So I opened up pretty well. I have goods to pitch Jackalope and search. I search Emerald Bird, which I am assuming that he just doesn't run hand traps, and like the only thing he might run is maybe Nibiru. So yeah, I just kind of like play accordingly around the Nibiru. And yeah, because I have this other copy of Perfume, I know I have like access to the full combo, so not too big of a deal. So you will notice I actually like when I say he has Nibiru, I don't actually play around it, because this Jackalope is actually the 5th summon, or not Jackalope, sorry, the Emerald Bird. Well, after I attach Jackalope using the Nearless second effect, that actually is my 5th summon, so he can Nibiru me. Oh wait, no, I lied. I actually did play around Nibiru. Nice, I didn't trigger the Emerald Bird. All right, well, it goes to show that I just didn't remember this replay. Apologize for that, but yeah, okay, because I remember there was a replay in which I didn't respect Nibiru, but I guess in this one I did. So yeah, there we go. Didn't get the maximum value there, but I still did the swap obviously, so I can get the Lunalight materials in the graveyard there. So in this kind of situation, like Allure is like not the greatest card to have in hand, because like I'm already fully set up, but like that's fine. Like if you're already if you're not really bricked, then like it's totally okay to just have a blank. It's like not even like the most dead card anyway. So Tiger's gonna bring back the Emerald Bird so I can get the Curious. So here you'll see a bit of a weird thing about my build here. So I am playing the Eradicator, but like it didn't actually occur to me until this game. I was like, wait, what is my Eradicator target going to be, because I'm not running the Orcus engine. So he quits before I get there, so it's like fine. But yeah, like that is a problem that I had to shore up. So you'll see that a bit later on. So using that Martin effect to bounce a Tiger and then bring back Emerald Bird to make the 4 Strix to get the Zephyros, which I'll pitch for the Serenade that I pitched off the Perfume earlier to get the Cloud Trick. And he just quits right here, but that's okay. So what happens next? So I get another send up. Did I send twice there? Whatever. I think I'm just like trying to see what I can do at this point. Okay, yeah, no, I realized I sent twice. So I go ahead and use Zephyros, and I believe I make... Was I not running Barricade Blocker in this build? Maybe I wasn't. I can't see it. That's wonderful. Yeah, let's see. I make Griffin here, and I think I pitch Snake. I draw another Allure. So yeah, I think I'm like... Yeah, try and draw off a Allure, and then like... I don't get anything, I just try again. I probably wouldn't actually bother with the Allures, to be quite honest with you. Like, there's nothing that I need to draw at this point. So my very bad play would be to make Boro Sword, and the reason I can justify that is because we're playing Leo Dancer, so like you would have to tribute like a Boro Sword. So yeah, in the future I would either have to just not play Eradicator and play Imperial Order instead, or I would play like a Trisbana or something I could just more readily summon that's not Boro Sword. Yeah, because I was looking through a bunch of the Link monsters that have 2500 more attack that are dark after this game. Like I kind of looked through them and none of them were that good except like maybe again Trisbana or like the Link 4s, but I wouldn't want it to be Link 4 ideally. Yeah, that's like the one thing with Eradicator. If you are not running the Orcus build, it's just like you don't really have a great target to tribute, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. Against Draco I normally would call spells, by the way, because that's where most of the power generation comes from. So like you have obviously duality, you have the diagram, terraforming, the Draco spells that'll be destroyed from hand, card demise, Paw of Desires, like all those cards, and like unless they have to like hard draw a bunch of traps, and like the whole deck is trying to just draw and filter through for the best cards. So like, you know, most of their hand is going to be cards that try and fix their hand even more. So definitely I like to call spells against them. And like Order is worse against them because like they can just like if this is Order here, he would just like set this Disciples and tribute over for Ignis, and then Disciples would pop it, and then that's just kind of it. So yeah, like against this matchup specifically, Order's not as good. Like in most matchups, Order would do the job just fine, but yeah. So definitely would need a better target for Eradicator to tribute if I wanted to play it. So that's something that you guys should consider. Oh, and you also notice that I left the Radiant in. Like that was like kind of the, oh, what if I use the lure kind of thing. Like that's why it's there. But yeah, the reason I left the Radiant in is like kind of forgot that like people still somewhat perceive this deck as a go second deck, especially if like they see that you know, they go first and then you just OTK through them. So some people will just, you know, make you go first, and it's generally okay. Like you can make pretty decent boards. Like this deck does pretty well against like monster heavy decks like Saud and Orcus. If they make you go first, like you're okay with that. But like against back row decks, it's a little bit trickier because the best outs to back row are like the floodgates you set off the Griffin, but it's a lot harder to do that in a pure build. So those are just some things to keep in mind. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this showcase here for this Road to 1000 DuelingBook rating episode. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like, as well as any thoughts or feedbacks in the comment section down below. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. All links in the description as always. And feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. I'm getting tongue-tied. And I also messed up my outro order if you guys noticed. But anyways, I'm not going to edit that. But yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I will catch you in the next video. See you guys!